anchor for the NBC Nightly News, Brian Williams, was caught red-handed in an incredible exaggeration of the truth. The newscaster shared a story from his time of covering the Iraq invasion back in 2003. Williams shared the story several times over 10 or 12 years, with each time the incident growing in its magnificence and splendor. The last time that he shared the story, in 2015, he said that he was traveling in a helicopter that had been hit by a rocket-propelled grenade. Now, a veteran that had been involved in the event came forward and questioned the accuracy of the story as Williams had shared it. Williams admitted that he had actually been in another helicopter that was around 30 minutes behind the one that had actually been hit by the rocket. As a result of this lie, as well as several others that Williams was caught in, the anchor plummeted from being the 23rd most trusted person in America to the 835th most trusted, as well as being suspended for 6 months and eventually losing his job as the anchor of the nightly news program. Proverbs chapter 21 verse 6 in the Good News Translation tells us, "The riches that you get by dishonesty soon disappear, but not before they lead you into the jaws of death." Without a doubt, a dishonest life is a burdensome life. Having to remember who you told what lie to usually leads to having to tell another lie to cover up for the last one, and so forth. This is what prompted the famous quote by the great author Mark Twain, who said, "If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything." In the Bible, Jacob was the third of the great patriarchs, the first being Abraham, the second being Isaac. Jacob had many great qualities about him, and he would later become Israel, the father of the tribes which would later become the nation of Israel. Jacob desperately wanted the birthright that belonged to his older brother Esau, and demonstrated that he was not above using anything, including dishonesty and deception, in order to get what he wanted. In order for the blessing to be transferred from his father to him, Jacob had to convince his father that he was, in fact, his older brother Esau. To do this, Jacob pretended to be his older brother, who was a hunter, skilled in killing and cooking wild game. In addition to Esau being a great hunter, he was also a very hairy man. If body hair makes you manly, then Esau was the most manliest of all men you've ever met. Because the Bible says that Jacob covered his arms with animal skins in order to make them feel like his brother Esau. That's a hairy dude. His father Isaac, who was very old and lost his eyesight, smelled the smell of the field when Jacob walked in, and he felt the rugged arms of Jacob and believed the lie that he was, in fact, Esau. Isaac stretched forth his hand, placing the blessing upon Jacob. Yes, Jacob did receive the inheritance, but he lost a great deal in addition to that. From that day on, for many years to come, Jacob would spend every day of his life in fear of his brother. Esau, his brother, pursued after him to take his life. In addition to that, Jacob would never see his father again. His family would be completely torn apart. You see, while Jacob was still in his mother's womb, God had spoken to her that the younger of the sons, Jacob, would receive the birthright. But instead of allowing God to work it out, Jacob took matters into his own hands, and his deception brought great destruction. Living a life of deception and dishonesty is wearisome. Living with integrity and honesty is a much less burdensome life to live. Less people will be hurt along the way, and the end will always be greater when you live with integrity. So lighten your load today. Remove dishonesty and lack of integrity from your life. Travel light and live with integrity.